Dice Tower. I'm Wendy Yi. Chris made that intro for me a couple years ago, and I love how the little like firework thing shooting out the top match the chugga chugga of the, I don't know, the music. I just think that's cute. I think he did that on purpose, obviously. Anywho, it is just me here today. Joey had some stuff going on, so I am all by my little lonesome here at the office. It's actually really nice to be quiet, so I'm kind of an introvert. So I love to just like be in places by myself and hear the ambient noises and just have the quiet. There's like a tiny bit of creep factor, but not too much. I'm pretty good with that. Yeah, like I love being at home alone. Like go send off Chris and my daughter on a daddy-daughter date, and I'm like, ooh, this is my space. It's just quiet. And I can do stuff and be productive, or I could not do stuff and be productive because it's emotionally productive. Anyways, yeah, so it's pretty quiet here. And you guys were asking Joey yesterday if he had played any games with me, and the answer is no. We've had a lot of just other work to do. Oh, refresh. Huh. Yeah, no, it's live. It should work. Anyways, we've had a lot of work to do. So I've been working on the library along with just my normal other day stuff. And I don't know if you guys have been to one of our conventions, but one of my main jobs is labeling baggies. So because we store our games vertically, a lot of inserts just don't work, especially because we store them vertically and then we take the carts and we put them on a giant truck and then we truck them to Orlando or we truck them to Miami to put on a cruise ship. Like they just go through a lot of rattling and beating. And so most of the inserts, the cards and stuff will fall out of, even if they're like well-made inserts. And so what a lot of my job is organizing stuff and putting them in bags, and then we label the bags so it's very easy to put away. So I've been going through a lot of the games that are in the library that were there before I arrived, 4 years ago. We still haven't made it through. I just finished shelf 14 of 28. And I've been working at this basically since I started working at this job. But during lulls, like right now, I'm not going to conventions. There's not a lot that I'm like working towards convention wise. Like the cruise is coming up in a few months, but I've got some time. So this is really the time of year that I just sit down and I turn on an audiobook and I just read through components pages time after time and organize. And the bagging system is really cool looking though, with all the little labels and stuff. So yeah, good morning to you all. So does anybody have any questions for me today for this Q&A? Anything about my job? Anything about gardening? Because I've started gardening since moving here to Fort Myers, and it is so much fun. I love it. I have these big, amazing zinnias and marigolds, and I have beautiful butterflies all over my yard. Anyways, it makes me so happy ever. Also, Sean has stolen the labels thing, and it's pretty awesome. Except he uses a different font and it drives me nuts. It's got to be Grow Bold. Grow Bold or die, my friends. Yeah, so anyways, if you guys want to hear about gardening, I will talk all about my gardening and my sweet potato patch and let's see, what else am I growing? I'm growing green beans, which I got this big haul for me. I'm doing the bush style because I don't have like permanent trellises set up yet. But I got like this big chunk, like this thick of green beans. There's probably like 25 or 30 of them in the bushel I just picked. I also have, I have a big sweet potato patch, and then I have some black beans on this like pseudo not very strong trellis that I attempted to make out of all of these little tomato cages that I have. So I have that kind of set around. And then I've got some tomatillos growing, which are super cool because they look like little paper lanterns as they grow. And then eventually once they fill out that paper lantern, they're ready to pick because they pop open. So anyways, gardening. I love gardening. Ooh, do you guys want to see some pictures? Let me see. I know that I'm kind of far away from the screen, but let me see if I can show you. There's these really cool butterflies that I had never seen before moving here. They are called Gulf fritillaries. So I'm going to see if you guys can see this. It's this orange butterfly. So on the top part of its wings is like orange with these black dots. And then underneath it's silver. So let me see. Anyways, these are all over my yard. So this is what it looks like. It's like an iridescent silver. Whoop, you guys see that? They kind of remind me of monarchs, but they're not quite the same. All right, we have our first question. Who is my favorite game designer? This is hard. So I love Phil Walker Harding. I especially love his older games. I feel like he's spit out a lot of new ones recently. And so, yeah, I like a lot of his older games. I still love his new ones, though. He just has this ability to take a mechanism and just like make a game about that thing. And so he's like, I want to do engine building. We are going to make a basic engine builder and it's going to be awesome and it's going to be quick. Oh, I can put these up on, can't I? Where did that go? I got to find the question. Here we go. Mogart of the Maritimes. There we go. Favorite game designer. So I love Phil Walker Harding. So he's probably my favorite. But I also like, what's his name? Alexander Pfister. I also really love Alexander Pfister. However, Broom Service is the game that I probably hate the most, and that's also by him. So I love a lot of his games. I love Mombasa, Blackout Hong Kong, Pirates of Maracaibo. Oh my gosh, that was my favorite game last year. I've played it with expansions. I love that game so much. So I really love his design philosophy. And he just does some really cool things in his games, and there's just very few that I don't like. Oh, also, Oh My Goods. Like his little card games, Tybor the Builder. Like he's just so many good games that I really, really love. So Alexander Pfister and Phil Walker Harding, probably my favorites. Let's see, what else we got here? Comic Sans for bags. That would be terrible. Don't use Comic Sans. This is a no, Sean. Don't. No, he uses some frilly looking writing. So I use Growbold, which is one of those fonts you have to download, and it's like the Dice Tower font we use for a lot of things. So it's big and chubby and cute. Let's see. What type of board game is your favorite? I love the engine building Euros that are out there in the world, man. There's something that is so fun about creating a system and growing it and growing it and growing it and figuring out how to make something that's just like starts off so simple and figuring out how to make it work. Like I just love understanding how things work. I love reading books that get into people's minds because I love understanding how people's minds work. I love looking at games and looking and being like, ooh, what happens when I pull these levers? What happens when I do this? Like I love looking at games as kind of like a mechanical piece of like something I want to figure out. I want to figure it out and pull it apart and understand how it works and understand like what happens when I do one thing versus another thing. And so that's what I love about Euro games is I like theme, I like story, but I really just want to get into the mechanics and like figure out how it works or why it doesn't work. Because there are plenty of games out there that I don't like. And I like to understand why I don't like them. Like I've come to realize that I really enjoy dice-based games when I roll first and I get to make a decision. And so that's something that I've figured out over the years because I just really enjoy digging in and figuring out what is it. It's not dice as a whole. It's not rolling dice that I don't like, but instead it's the decision-making process. Does it happen before or after I roll the dice? Is it like input randomness or is it output randomness? So anyways, yeah, I really enjoy that. So heavy Euro games, that's my jam. But I also really enjoy like lots of weeknight games, you know what I mean? Simple card games, trick taking. There's so many like little games that I like, which is why Phil Walker Harding is one of my favorite designers, right? So I have like a heavy game designer and a light game designer because I really like the both. There aren't many nights that I fill up for in the week after working all day and then taking care of my daughter and all that kind of stuff to be like, let's sit down for a 3-4 hour game. But those are the games that I love to just really dig deeply into. All right, let's see what else we have on here. Dungeons and Dragons Edge of the Realms. That's awesome. Good for you, Mike. I'm excited for you. Wingdlings font. I don't even know what Wingdlings font is. Now I feel like I have to look this up. You all should look it up with me. What is the look of Wingdlings font? Wingdlings. Let me look it up. Of course, now my internet's going to be slow. Oh, that's just the weird icons. Okay, I'm going to show you guys my phone again because it's just like random stuff. Like you type in letters and random things show up and you have no idea what that is. That's great. Okay. Is there a theme that you would like to see within board games that you've never seen? That's interesting. I feel like we've seen so many themes, and obviously we have lots of repeats. It makes me really happy that instrument making, like in luthier, became a thing because I really enjoy music. I studied vocal music in high school, and then got super burnt out, so I didn't do it for a long time. I didn't do it in college and stuff. But yeah, I love music. I love theory. Once again, I like to understand why stuff works. And kind of the mechanics behind it. So when I was studying music, I was always a big like music theory person. I really wanted to understand why the notes and stuff were laid out the way that they were and why they sound and kind of all that theory behind it. But then history, like music history, I had zero interest in. And I can't ever remember the names of songs, and I'm bad at memorizing words, but I love to understand like how music works and why it works, and chord structure and all that kind of cool stuff. So board game themes that I haven't seen yet. It's interesting because like there's so many nature ones and there's so many gardening ones. Are there any board games that are about programming video games? Like is that a theme? Like making a video game? Like I know that there's board games, there's the was it like Board Game Inc. or Meeple Inc. or something like that came out that was about making board games? But I'm talking about like video games. Like, is there a board game about making video games? You guys should let me know if that's a thing, because that would be a curiosity. Okay, what types of books do you normally read or listen to? I am a big fantasy person. I love escaping the world, right? The world that we live in it's just so serious. And I just want to be in a different world where things don't work the way that they work here. And I want to learn how they work. I want to learn all about the magic systems. So my favorite author is Brandon Sanderson. And I love that he has all these different worlds. Like he's built this whole Cosmere, which is basically like this universe with all these different worlds that all have different magic systems. But they're all tied in to like the same laws of the same universe. It's so interesting. And so I love to be able to see like, you know, he's got this one world where people consume metal and it lets them, like drinking it in like an alcohol liquid kind of thing. It lets them use magic, basically, if you're like someone who's inclined to be able to do that. And so you can push metal objects, or you can pull metal objects, or you can, you know, I mean, there's just different things you can do with it. And then he breaks down how that interacts with society and how that little ability can affect the physics behind the world and can affect the way that people use that to be heroes or be villains or whatever. And so, you know, he's got that world. And then he has another world where people paint and, you know, they paint monsters and when monsters come at them, and that somehow makes the monster not into a monster, and they like capture it. And make it so it's not a monster anymore. Like it's so interesting how all of that happens. And I'm actually reading a book called The Isles of the Elderdark. No, I got it. Anyways, it doesn't matter. But Isles of the Emberdark, that's what it is. And he's like tying in a lot of these different worlds into this one little novel. And I love it. Absolutely love it. So yeah, fantasy is all my jam. I mostly get my books from the library, so I have to wait, you know, forever and a day to get them. But then I just speed read through them at like 1.5 speed, sometimes 2 times speed. It just depends on the reader, how slow they are. But yeah, give me a good fantasy novel and it just makes me happy. Love it. All right, what else we got? Do I watch any other YouTubers, board gamers, or others? Oh, did that go up? That didn't go up. There is, I think it's called Southern Floridian is her name. She is a YouTuber that I've been following quite a bit, actually, to get all of my garden knowledge, because growing in South Florida is not like growing anywhere else because we are subtropical. We're in zones 9A. So basically right now is the beginning of our growing season where the rest of you are all freezing. And, sorry, I hate the snow and the cold, so I'm happy to be here. But our summers are actually too wet and they're too hot to really grow anything over the summer when it's prime planting season for most other people in the world. And so I specifically have been following like Southern Florida growers, just like house gardeners, to learn one, what I can grow, and two, how to grow out here and kind of what the struggles are. Because we have root knot nematodes that basically like mess up the roots of your plant so they can't get enough nutrition, so they can't grow. And then we have tons of rain, which makes it so that, they just like drown and they get drenched and they just get beat to a pulp because it's heavy, intense rain. And then on top of that, we have really sandy soil. Like my backyard is beach sand with a thin layer of topsoil and basically just enough for my grass to grow. And so we have found like big seashells in our backyard. Like you go out and you just see sand. And so a lot of plants can't grow in straight up sand. And so you have to figure out ways to amend the soil and make it so that it fits being able to grow like the nice plants that you want to grow, like tomatoes and pumpkins and whatever. So it's interesting. But sweet potatoes, those ones grow really well out here because they like the sand and they like the sun and they like the stupid amounts of water and the bugs don't kill them. So anyways, everyone else, I guess it's hard to grow sweet potatoes in northern areas, but down here, they grow like a weed. So that's the YouTuber I really watch. But other than that, I don't watch a ton of YouTube. I mostly listen to audiobooks and watch Korean dramas or just other TV shows. What is my favorite uncomplicated game? I would say Gizmos is my favorite uncomplicated game. It is an engine builder where you're basically like pulling marbles from a track and you're keeping them in a cute little marble holder. And then you are buying gizmos with them. And those gizmos allow you to do other things. And you can trigger them often by collecting marbles or building new gizmos. And so it's one of those games where you get to play something and then you tap something and then you tap something, you tap something, and suddenly you have like 4 more marbles this turn and you got to build something. And so, yeah, I really enjoy that one. That's probably my favorite uncomplicated one. It still has a rule set, like it's still a hobby board game. If we're going for like super uncomplicated, like Uno level, basic, then it would probably be Rummy Tiles. What do you call it? Rummy Cub. I grew up with a version that was called Rummy Tiles, and it had like slightly different rules from Rummy Cub, but the essential like framework is the same. Yeah, that's probably the one that is like most mainstream would have grown up with. Simple game. I always liked that one as a child. Could you recommend some books? Maybe favorite of the decade. Okay, well, anything from Brandon Sanderson. I love him. And then, there is this series. Patricia Briggs. Patricia Briggs did a series. What is her name? It's the main character. Oh, it's going to drive me nuts. Anyways, look up Patricia Briggs, and it's The Moon Called is the first book. And it is this character where she is a coyote. So she's a human, right? But her father is like secretly this Native American ancestor, or like God, and he's the coyote god. And so she can turn into a coyote. And so she is basically like raised in this world where vampires and werewolves and just like all those little things that bump in the night kind of thing are real. And she's raised by this werewolf pack, and in fact like the leader of all of North America's werewolf pack. And so even though she can't turn into a werewolf, she ends up finding herself in all these sticky situations, and she's just an amazing heroine. She's just so strong and she's so creative, and her like little ability actually is super useful, and she's got all these like anyways, her magic is just different from everybody else's, and so she has her own special abilities, and I absolutely love her. And I can't remember her name for the life of me. But yeah, look up Patricia Briggs. Moon Called is the first one. And the front of the novel, like the pictures in one set of the novels, doesn't look at all like the character, and she looks super, I don't know. She's just like covered in tattoos, wearing almost nothing, as many fantasy books they do, right? But anyways, I feel like the cover doesn't represent the book very well, if that makes sense. Let's see, what else we got here? Can we prank Chris? Always. Can we prank Chris while he's away? Maybe move something he'll notice to the linen closet while he's gone. Then people can at him on social media asking him about it when it gets home so he can find it. Oh, that would be interesting. We don't own a linen closet because here in Florida, we don't have normal closets here. Like, it's just so confusing to me. So there's no coat closets in any place that I've lived. Like, you come in the front door and there's nowhere to store your vacuum cleaner. There's nowhere to store your coats because you don't wear coats, except you do because there's raincoats. Yeah. And then our linen closet is literally just like 3 shelves in our bathroom. And so linen closet is not an option, but I will ponder on that. What can we do to prank? I need ideas. So in the chat, give me some real ideas of how I can prank Chris. Last time he was in Vegas for World Series of Board Gaming, my daughter and I painted the house while he was gone. That was a fun surprise. It was one of those things that we had talked about since we've moved that we really want to paint. And it was a fun surprise to be able to be like, ta-da, I did it. Only I didn't finish it all. So maybe that'll be my surprise, is finally finishing it. I like my walls being painted. I don't like doing the painting, if that makes sense. Howdy from Texas. Do you have a favorite version of Great Western Trail? Do you hope there will be more small versions like El Paso? You know what? Great Western Trail is one of those games that I played wrong the first time I played. Like, the person who was teaching got a ton of rules wrong. And then I never went back to it. And Chris has played it a couple times and he still doesn't like it. And so I just never did. So then when all the new versions of Great Western Trail came out, I didn't really have a good starting point. And so I never played them. And I wish I had. I did play El Paso. And I liked it. I liked that it was simple and sweet. But I really should. It's one of those that, like, I love Alexander Pfister so much, and yet I haven't played 3 of his games for real. So I don't know why. But do I like more small versions? I thought El Paso I liked it the most out of everybody, but I still just thought that it was fine. Like, it wasn't amazing, but it was still good. I think I more liked Pirates of Maracaibo. You know what I mean? Like, don't necessarily make it so small. But I also have never played regular Maracaibo, so Pirates is the only one I have, and everyone says that that's better, so why go back? Favorite animal. Favorite animal is penguins. Penguins are a family mascot. In fact, we got this really cool housewarming gift from Mike Heller in the chat, where he ordered from a zoo this pretty painting done by penguins where they just like step on it, and it makes me so happy. So we have this little like penguin shrine in our dining room area. So we have our family, we have 3 penguins that are our family pictures, and we've just claimed penguins off of them. And then we have like a poster of a bunch of different types of penguins, and then we have that nice little like painting by the penguins. So I do love penguins. I also like dolphins. Dolphins make me happy. Favorite Halloween spooky game to play this time of year? I don't actually play a lot of spooky games. I kind of wish I had one. I was really hoping that candy gardening one from last year was going to be the one. And yeah, I don't know. I don't really have spooky games. We're more about spooky movies in our house. And when I say spooky movies, I don't really mean like even horror or scary movies. We really love Over the Garden Wall, which is a fabulous, fabulous series if you haven't watched it. It's so good. That's a fun little like spooky jaunt that's very family friendly. I just showed my daughter Phantom of the Opera for the first time. She didn't love it, but I loved it. So that's all that matters. I know everyone's like, the movie is not as good as the stage play. Especially not the Broadway original cast, whatever. But I didn't know the Broadway original cast. This movie was my like first experience with Phantom of the Opera, so it is the part that is special to me. Like, I love it, and I love the music, and I love the girl who plays Christine. What career would you want if you weren't working at the Dice Tower? Okay, so before working at the Dice Tower, I was a stay-at-home mom, and before that, I worked with adults and children with intellectual disabilities, kind of as a caregiver. I also worked as an ABA therapist, and I would not want to go back to that because that is so physically and emotionally exhausting. And this job has been so nice to be able to step away from those like very intensive care kind of things. But if I were to go back to school and get a master's degree, because I've got my bachelor's in interpersonal communication. So if I were to go back to school, I would want to go for like marriage and family therapy or some sort of like psychology degree, because I love human minds. Like I love just learning about why people react the way they react to situations and how they think in situations and how to basically like help people change their paradigm and their thinking and looking at life so that they can make happy choice. I don't know. So they can have a happier life, right? Chris and I did a lot of research because I had that interpersonal background degree. And so I learned a lot about like John Gottman and some of these other like researchers. We did a lot of research early on in our marriage, and I think that it helped so much learning about communication and learning about how to problem solve and kind of making those decisions together on how we're going to meet problems and how we're going to face them and how we're going to discuss them and how we're going to deal when we get defensive and we get upset and we struggle with each other. And so I think early on doing that research and learning those things has really helped. And then just on top of that, I just love psychology stuff. So anyways, that's what I would do if I went back to school. And honestly, I might do sometime in the future once my daughter's grown up and I have the time to go back to school. I would love to do that and just study the human mind. It's so cool. Let's see. Creative Differences, the video game development card game. I have not played that one. I haven't heard of that one. So that would be interesting for the theme of going back to that question about what theme I haven't seen. So cool, Mike. Thanks for sharing that. I'll have to look that one up. What game would I think I would have the best chance to win at World Series of Board Gaming? I would say none of them, probably, because I play to understand the mechanics of games and to like explore them. But I don't play to learn the intricacies of them enough to win. However, I do win gizmos a lot because it just works with my brain and I like that one a lot. However, I don't win every time. So that's probably the one I'd have the best chance of winning because I know it really well. But also, once again, like I don't know all the cards. Like there's these purple cards at the top that there's only 2 that reveal every round, or not every round, during the game. And there's only ever 2 sitting out. And I don't have all those memorized. Like there's ones that I will grab regularly if I see them because I like them, but I don't know that whole deck. And I'm sure that if I was really wanting to get in like World Series level of playing of gizmos, I would have that all memorized. I would know which ones are the ideal ones to get. And then I would do the research function where you basically get to like look through 3 or 4 cards and pick one. I would do that all the time, I'm sure. But I don't know. I'm just not that level of playing. I just like to explore games. I don't understand this comment. Oh, wow, don't give Uwe Rosenberg any ideas. Oh, I don't know. I don't know what that means. What was that in regards to? Ikabe. Favorite albums of the last 5 years. Okay, so Chris is the modern music nerd of our house. However, I really love Epic the Musical. So it is based, I think it's 5 or 6 albums. I think it's 5. But it is this guy that has written, he's written basically this really long epic musical of the Odyssey, and gotten all these professional singers and recording and all that kind of stuff. And it's absolutely fabulous. Really well studio recorded story. And it goes through the entire story of the Odyssey. And I love it so much. My daughter had found one of the songs and she listened to it and she loved it. And it was like Athena kind of introducing herself. And she played it a few times. And then a few months later, this kid at church I was talking to, I was working with the teenagers at the time, and he was telling me about this Epic the Musical series of songs and stuff. And he was like, you should listen to it. It's the best thing in the world. You know what I mean? He was just like gushing. And I was like, okay, fine, I'll listen to it. So I have something to talk to him about, right? So I started listening to it and I was like, oh, that's the song my daughter would listen to. And so we just listened to the whole thing time and time and time again. And it is like, to me, it's like listening to an audiobook because it is such a good story-driven musical, but it's just all sang. And so, like, my daughter and I have little karaoke nights together, and we sing all the songs, and it makes me happy that we all know it. And so that's kind of our, like, combined. So if I had to pick 5 albums, it would be all 5 of those. Board game storage and high humidity in Florida. The answer is have an AC. So your air conditioner here is your dehumidifier. So, like growing up in Vegas, right? We didn't have to have dehumidifiers. It wasn't a thing. In fact, we brought humidifiers into our house for when we were sick because you needed to be able to, you know, clear out that congestion with some moisture in the air, right? Where here it's the opposite. So in Vegas growing up, you had to have like as big as AC as possible, right? Because you want it to be super efficient at cooling because it gets to be 118 degrees outside. Whereas here it gets really hot. It gets into the high 90s, which is like a feels like low 100s kind of thing. But because it's so humid, the air conditioner is actually pulling the water out of the air. And so you need a smaller AC unit here than you would in Vegas because you want it to run regularly so that it will dehumidify regularly. And so if you've got a giant AC unit, sure, it'd be really efficient at cooling your house, but it would not be efficient at dehumidifying your house. And so that's interesting. So that's the way that we do it with our board games is you have to keep your AC running all year round so that you don't get mold on anything, including your games. Okay. Oh, same question that was asked Joey. What's your favorite all-play game that's on the display behind you? It's funny because I actually asked that question because I was trying to get the questions going. So now I have to look. Let's see. Okay. It is one of the two over here that you can't see. But I'm going to say probably this one. Things and Rings, played cooperatively. The competitive version is fine. I still enjoy it. But I like it cooperative because I like to be able to talk about, once again, I like how things work. And I want to figure out how the cards all work together, right? And I want to discuss it and talk about it because my brain is not that good. And more brains equals better, right? Okay. Do I have a favorite horror movie villain and or final girl? Oh, that's hard. So I really don't watch a lot of horror movies. I do enjoy Stranger Things, and I'm very curious about what they're going to do with this last season. It's weird because all the kids have grown up, and I always find that odd. I found that odd in the whole Harry Potter series too. That like at some point the kids grew up. You got to film fast, right? So that's probably the one that I like. Is probably my favorite just because it's the one that I know the most and I feel like I've invested the most time in watching, and that's just because it's a really long series. Mercy Thompson. Thank you so much, Mike Heller. Okay, Mercy Thompson is the name of the character. It's the name of the book series that I really love. I can't believe I forgot her name. But anyways, she's the lady that turns into a coyote and is raised by wolves. She is absolutely fabulous. You should read those books. They are so good. Has anybody read them? Actually, I'm curious. Do you know that Mike Heller because I told you how to look it up, or do you know because you've read those? Okay, game that Chris and I completely disagree on. Like one I can't understand why he likes. Broom Service, obviously. Sorry, Alexander Pfister. Absolute fail. Yeah, I don't get Broom Service. I think that there is so much dependent on what other people do and reading minds. And I don't mind interaction, but it is just like all mind reading. And if you don't read correctly, you're just screwed. Like we recently in the Luthier review, talked about how like it is dependent on the order that people go. And someone had asked if it was based or if it was very similar to Broom Service. And I think that it feels totally different because in Luthier, there's a couple times where you want the order to matter, but a lot of times it doesn't. And usually you know what you can do. And so the actual way that you trigger them off isn't going to ruin everything. Whereas I feel like in broom service, it is, because you have to, I don't even remember how you play, but you have to like move to a space and then deliver a potion, right? And so if someone picks the deliver a potion action before you have a chance to move, you're like, I don't get to do anything. I played this card and I get to do nothing. And then there's other cards where you gain resources and you choose whether you're going to be brave, which means you can do more as long as nobody else after you chooses brave. If you're the last person to choose brave, then you get that extra bonus. But instead of just getting the little one, you get like nothing. And so there's just these turns where you're like, I do nothing. I failed. I read minds wrong. I read the board situation wrong. Like it just, I hate it. Anyways, that's one that Chris loves. It's like one of his favorite games of all time. In fact, we have sold it and gotten rid of it because he didn't have anybody to play it with because I refused to play it. And then we ended up buying it back after working here because he actually has people to play with it now, because all of you will play it with him at conventions. And so I appreciate that sacrificing on my behalf. Actually, a lot of people like the game. And I do wonder, I haven't played it in like 5 or 6 years. I wonder if it wouldn't be as bad now, like if I would like it more. But my memories of playing it like 5 or 6 times, I hated it every single time. So there you go. Mike said that it's very Dresden-style urban fantasy. It's great. I actually just read my first Dresden novel for the first time this last week. Like last week, not this week. The week before last week. But anyways, yeah, that was good. I enjoyed it. Can you give a quick list of games that aren't specifically 2 players that you think are actually good couple games? Don't be afraid to name classics. I didn't know Azul was good 2 months ago. Oh, okay. Well, Feast for Odin, I love, and I love it at 2, but specifically with the expansion. Other ones, I'm trying to think what Chris and I play. We play so many new games all the time. We don't get to play a lot of the games we love. Brass, fabulous at 2 as well. It's one of those that there is a lot of positive interaction, and yet at 2 players, you still it still matters, right? It matters who's first. It matters if someone takes your beer and uses it, or your coal, it's still really good interaction. And then let's see. So those are, of course, my 2 favorite games. Just a lot of little games. Oh, I really like The Crew at 2. You have to play it with the extra computer player, the Simon character. Simon, is that the word for it? Anyways, Iron Man's buddy is what it's named after. Oh, Charles? No, what's his name? Oh, anyways, it doesn't matter. Yeah, you have to play with that extra side character, but I love that because then you get to give extra information in a 2-player game, which you need, right? And so the person who is the captain controls that extra person. And so as they play, that creates its own little shared board that you both get to see common information. And I think that it's really good. And I absolutely love the way that works. So there you go. Those are a few of my games. I don't know if any of those are ones that you've tried or have not tried. I've actually, so which game rating is more bipolar, Turing Machine or Vantage? I've not played Vantage, but I definitely feel like some people love it, some people hate it. Same thing with Turing Machine. Some people love it, some people hate it. I almost wonder if Turing Machine is more, but I think that's more people that just straight up don't like deduction. But then again, Mike likes deduction. Like some deduction games, but not Turing Machine. I don't know. What do you guys think? Which one is more bipolar? How did Chris and I meet? We met in college. His brother actually joined my church, and I was friends with his brother while Chris was still in high school. He's a year and a half younger than me, so he was 2 school years behind me. And so I was friends with his older brother, who's like 3 years older than me, 3 to 4 years older than me. Anyways, so I was friends with his older brother. We hung out, spent a lot of time at church, at school, doing stuff. And then I left to serve a mission for my church. Chris, became an adult, joined college, served a mission for his church. We met briefly in college, and then we both served. We both came back, and then he was friends with all my friends, and so we just became buddies and friends. It was great. And we did this big Mario prank where we basically like decorated this whole building as Mario World. And I spent a whole lot of time with him just hanging out, cutting out coins and painting random things. And so he decided I was the one because I was willing to do this stupid prank with him, I guess. Okay, prank ideas. Do a spooky version of Elf on the Shelf. Get a creepy doll and start moving it around until Halloween and eventually bring it into the office and leave overnight so he finds it in the morning. Oh, I bet my daughter would love that. I'm really thinking about that. Okay, if I make this plan and if I agree to do this, the question is when would you guys mention it to him? Like, would you send him emails? Who is this doll? You know what I mean? Like, this is the situation is I don't have a doll that works for this at the moment. And so I'm like, how do I make this happen if we really are to make this happen? Okay, I need more specifics. How is this going to work? Because I'm totally willing to do this. Oh, Love Over the Garden Wall. Yes, it's so good. Also, Phantom of the Opera. So good. Okay. Psychology degree, interesting. Do you prefer Dixit-style games or literal therapy-themed games like Unconscious Mind more? Unconscious Mind, but I think it's more of a weight and style of game. I don't really like Dixit-style games. I love the art, and Mysterium is one of the games that we played early on in our hobby experience. I loved that game, and I love the art, and I think it's so beautiful. But the actual mechanics of the game, I'm not a big fan of. And Mysterium. Mysterium is good, but Dixit games, they're fine. They're fine party games. But yeah, Unconscious Minds, that's more my jam because it's like that heavy Euro-y stuff. But also all the art and all of that is so good. Let's see. Aquatica, you crush. Yeah, okay. I really like Aquatica too, but I don't always win that one either. But it is really good. All the good engine builders, they're great. Let's see. I feel like I've heard you mention painting miniatures for board games, but no, if I'm misremembering. So do I like painting minis? Yes, I've done a few videos on the channel for painting minis. They do take a really long time. Like most of our videos, we play a game, we play it a few times, we sit down, we record a video, done, right? And it gets edited easy. But the painting miniature videos are so time intensive because already I'm painting miniatures for the Dice Tower library. And then to have it set up so that I like plan beforehand how I'm going to paint the miniature, which honestly, I'm usually a like fly by the seat of my pants kind of person. But then I also feel like I have to plan something that I'm going to describe and explain as to like a technique that I'm doing with the miniature. And then I have to make sure that all like verbally makes sense as with the pictures of what I'm doing. And so you also have to hold the miniatures different when you're recording them, and it's a little bit harder to paint. Moral of the story is I don't make a lot of those painting videos because they're a lot of work compared to all of our other mini videos. But I do really enjoy painting miniatures. I'm repainting Wonderland's War because that game has gotten played so much that those minis are beat up, like so much paint is chipped off. And like I mentioned before, we don't use inserts because they usually don't work for vertical stacking, so all the minis are just thrown in a bag, and so they get extra bounced around and extra destroyed. Thanks. I'm glad that you're really enjoying that we're doing these this week. Tom does a lot of Q&As. I think he loves doing Q&As, and he loves hanging out with you guys because you're cool. It's nice. Best tip for growing tomatoes in pots. The tomatoes that I have grown in pots has been in honestly, we lived in a townhouse before with very little backyard. So I used a big tote, like one of those like big gray totes, and I just filled it full of soil and I drilled holes in the bottom. So really, I think the thing for if you're growing in containers with tomatoes is you have to water them super regularly because they're going to dry out way quicker than in the ground. You need to have some sort of trellising system if you're going to do the indeterminate ones that just keep growing forever. And then 3, you need a really big pot, because they need a lot of root structure to grow. And so I think that if you have them in too small of a pot, you're not going to get a good harvest and they're going to struggle. I should do a series. just a 5-minute view of something that you're painting and the method you're using would be fun. Yeah, I've done a few of those. So if you look up painting the dice tower, I've done a few videos here and there. They're really, I mean, they're really fun to make. They just are so much work. What is this one? Okay. So with all the education and research, what exactly is wrong with Chris? Come on. He's busy right now. Air it all out. Yeah. There's nothing wrong with him. He's practically perfect in every way. He's the Mary Poppins in my life. Okay. How do I cope with learning so many new games all the time? So I've been making board game content for like 8 or 9 years now, because we had a podcast for 4 years, and now we've worked here for 4.5 years. So we've been doing a lot of board gaming for a long time. And I've definitely had my burnout chunks where I'm like, I just don't want to learn a new game. It's just so much. So I think the combination of making sure that I have nights where I don't have to play a board game and I don't have to learn something new, so that I can feel refreshed, that's really big for me. So Chris comes on Tuesday nights, he plays games here. And then I go home and I watch my Korean dramas, or I clean, or I paint, or I do whatever I want to do crafty wise or introverty wise, and that recharges me. So I think having those specific like assigned nights to do something other than board gaming for me is really good, because we do play most of the games for review at home after work, after our daughter goes to bed. And the other thing for me is just once you learn enough mechanisms, you come to realize that a lot of games pull from everything else. Like there's very few brand new mechanisms that come out. And when they do, there's still other things you can pull from to understand. And so I think that the more you learn, the more easy it is to learn, if that makes sense. You know what? I honestly don't have my top 100 memorized, but we just did it. So is Shackleton Base and Ezra and Nehemiah in it? I think Shackleton Base was. I don't think Ezra and Nehemiah was. I do really enjoy Shem Phillips's line of games, him and Sam McDonald, and they have a couple other designers that they work with. I do really enjoy their games, but I feel like they've just gotten heavier and heavier and heavier, and not necessarily more fun. Like I really enjoy their midweight games where they explore a mechanism and they change it and they make it new and different. But the newer ones, I feel like I've not enjoyed as much. So I mean, I still enjoy them, but they just don't stand out. They don't stick out the way that the older games did. Okay. Favorite type of food. I love Mexican food. And part of it is because I'm gluten-free. And so, I don't have celiacs. I just have an intolerance, and I've been off gluten for 13 years. And so it's just so much easier to find food if I could just be like, I'm going to go eat a taco from like a legit Mexican place. Oh, so good. I love tacos. They're just, so easy for me to find food, and they're so good. I also absolutely love sushi, and I love Korean barbecue. In fact, this week I just made kimchi. That was one of my little things I did with my daughter while Chris is gone. We went down to the Asian market. It's a little bit of a drive away. It's like 35 minutes away. So we went there. We got a bunch of like Korean food and other Asian food so that we can make, different deliciousness. And then I made kimchi, which radish kimchi is my favorite. So it was good. How am I doing on time? I realize I'm not paying attention. Okay, we got about 12 more minutes to hang out. Brass is good at 2. Yes, brass is good at 2. I'm glad that you guys get to try that. That'll make me happy. Have I noticed any taste preferences in my board games over the past few years, or leaning towards particular mechanics? I do feel like I find it very refreshing to find a really good midweight game that gives me all the feels of a heavier game, like all of the type of mechanics that I like, but isn't anywhere near as complicated. Kind of like what I was saying, like how the Garfield games, there you go. Like Garfield games, they've gotten I feel like their stuff has just gotten heavier and heavier and heavier for the sake of heaviness. And it's not that I love heavy games because I want convoluted mechanisms. I love heavy games because there's a lot to explore and there's a lot to dig into. And so I feel like my tastes and preferences lean towards really good exploration and lots to do in a game. But if it can be more that mid-weight or mid-heavy instead of really heavy, I find that really is like so refreshing to me. Now, on that note, some of my favorite games this year have been Sweet Mess and Galactic Cruise, which are both like on the heavier side. So I don't know. I like it all, but I also find that during the week, I don't pull out those big heavy games. I want to play something lighter and something nicer. So I feel like I'm very polar, like medium heavy to heavy or super light, like 15-minute game. So I guess my tastes have changed, and I think that they do. I like playing cooperative games less, and I've heard other people say that as well. The more that they get in the hobby, cooperative games I think are really good when you're learning mechanisms and you're struggling learning lots of new stuff all the time because you want to try all the new games, and so cooperative you can kind of talk them out and you can learn a lot. But I'm finding now that I just get bored in a lot of cooperative games when it's not my turn because I feel like I'm often playing with gamers that are real gamers. And so we don't need to have those deep discussions and we don't need to have like figuring out the game anymore. It's just like, okay, you play, I play, it's my turn. And there's just less interesting going on. I think it also just depends on the cooperative game and if there is a lot of good strategy behind it or if it's just kind of lucky. Let's see. Varnish your minis. I did. I sprayed varnish on them, 2 coats. Yeah, they just, when stuff gets bounced around so badly, and that game has probably been played 50, 60 times. No, it might have been played more than that. It gets played so much. They just get beat up. But really it is like transportation all in the same bag. Like I said, they're bouncing around in a truck like multiple times a year. They just get beat up. It doesn't matter how much varnish I put on. Okay, let's talk more about this prank we might do. Okay, prank. The doll wouldn't require us. If your daughter is on board, take turns moving it while the other is out with Chris so that he can't suspect you. Ask night before it's creepy, and why did he get it? Oh, so I ask why he got the weird doll when he came back. So do I put this doll out before he arrives, or do I put it out like the next day? Like he arrives Monday night. I guess I could hide it somewhere before he arrives Monday night, you're saying, and then be like, hey, Chris, why did you get that creepy doll? Oh, I like this plan. Let's see. All right. Who's the specialty chef in your house? Okay, so I'm definitely the one who cooks in our house. Chris has a few things he can cook, but they're super basic. No, I'm the one who loves cooking. I'm more burnt out of it now than I used to be, so I don't do I don't look up as many recipes. I don't explore as much as I used to. But I used to love just like trying new things, whatever. I really enjoy cooking Korean food because, so Chris's family's Korean. And back in Las Vegas, we had access to a Korean market where you could get everything that you wanted. You go there, they have all the sides for sale. They have the bulgogi and the galbi, just like pre-marinated, ready to go. And so you could just buy it all, bring it home, and have this amazing Korean barbecue for like half the price of going out to a Korean barbecue place, right? For like an all-you-can-eat place. And so I loved that. Like we had access to everything. And I've had to learn how to make some of it at home. Now I don't do galbi because it's expensive and I don't want to mess it up because short ribs are really pricey. And my bulgogi honestly is usually just done with hamburger. But I really enjoy making kimchi. I love making japchae. We've done some of we try to make sushi. And so I do like putting a little bit of the, what do they call their sushi? Kimbap. I try to do like maybe throw a few things in, like you would put in kimbap, like the little radish and the, some of the other stuff in there. But so I enjoy Korean food. I just make a ton of different stuff. Recently, I have been really enjoying chickpeas. And so I've been putting chickpeas in everything. So when I make a curry, I've been like putting in chickpeas and I've been putting it in different things. Anyways, that's been my jam right now. But I think that I get kind of in these ruts where I'm like, this is the thing I'm making for a while. This is interesting. My family likes this. We'll eat it. It's healthy. So yeah. But I am the one who likes to cook and bake and explore and try all the different foods out. Oh, night before, bring it to the office. Oh, the night before I ask, bring it to the office? So it like moves around the house, and then the night before I ask, bring it to the office, and then ask him why he brought the doll to work. This makes sense. Okay. I'm understanding this. Also, he's not gonna fall for this at all. Like, not even a little bit, but it'll be fun. Let's see. What one game do you really want to play more often and don't get time or the opportunity? Oh, just all the games I love. All of them. Like, basically the top 20 or 30 on my list, on my top 100. I just really wish I had more time to play the games that I love. Most recently, I played Sweet Mess, and that game is fabulous. Absolutely fabulous. So I want to play that again more than I will probably have a chance to play it. But also I want to play games like that I've missed, like Great Western Trail and all the many versions of that. And SETI. SETI is one that I need to replay. You know, I had a sort of play of that. I didn't even play a whole game. Like, yeah, there's so many games out there. Like, there's so many new games I want to play, but also so many old comfy games I want to play. Like, I have made a point to bring out Gizmos and Aquatica and Reef and some of these other, like, lighter games that I love at conventions and teach people. And it's been so fun because they don't take a long time. Like, you can just pull them out and play them. It's not like I have to invest in playing 4 hours with you. But I've been able to just pull them out and re-enjoy them and introduce that excitement to other people. And that makes me happy. Yeah. Let's see. Do you ever play new games and then go look at strategies online after to see how to play better? Definitely not. No, I want to explore the game myself. I want to be able to dig into it myself. I don't really care about strategy. Like, I don't care about strategy guides because I'm not playing to win. I'm playing to explore. And of course, if I win, I love it, right? I love winning. But sometimes I just want to like pull levers and push buttons. And so that exploration can't happen if someone else is telling me how I'm supposed to play the game, right? No, yeah, I never do strategy guides. I would never do World Series of Board Gaming like as a contestant. It just would never be my thing. I just want to see how things work. And I want to figure it out myself. I don't want you to tell me how it works. Nah. All right. At the Dice Tower, how do you all decide which games to play and who plays them? I'm sure you have to review certain titles. Is there ever interest in gaming outside of work? So we have hundreds of games just sitting on the unplayed shelf, or someone has played it but it hasn't been reviewed yet shelf. So we have different shelves, and then we have a big spreadsheet of everything. And so no, we're not required to play specific games. There's just so many games to pick from out there. Now, obviously there are games that everybody wants to play because everyone's super excited. And you know what's funny is some of those games actually get overlooked because everyone's super excited about it. So like we never did a review of Minos because everyone put it on their anticipated list, and then like nobody played it. I did play it, but we played it at 2, and it really isn't meant to be played at 2. And so like that one just never got reviewed. And now it's like old news, right? There's so many other games we need to play. But it's just funny, yeah. Sometimes things get skipped, sometimes things whatever. And so we just have a meeting every week and decide what the reviews are going to be and who's going to be in them, and yeah. So, but no, we're not like specifically assigned a game. Like I'm not handed a game and been like, you must play this. But also, we know we have to play some good games and some terrible games. So if I just only played the games that everybody wants to play, like that's not really fair either, right? I gotta play some garbage too. As husbands enjoy the commitment of being messed with, plus the kids love it too. You could, after it shows up at the office, have it inside a favorite game of his. It'll be funny when it pops up again. Oh, that means it would have to be a tiny doll if that were the case. But I guess that's the point of Elf on the Shelf, right? Is that it's this tiny little thing. I'm trying to think where I would buy something like that. Because, like, do you think Walmart would have something like that? Like, I'm sitting and thinking through, I've been through the Halloween aisles recently. I just don't think I could. I wonder if I order it off Amazon, he'll see because we share an Amazon account and we get notifications for all the Amazon stuff. Huh. Curiosity. Anyways, maybe we'll just make one. Not like a doll, but maybe we'll just make like a little paper doll or something that can be hidden different places. Maybe that's the solution. And that will get my daughter more involved. So I like this idea. All right. Well, we are officially at 1 o'clock. Thanks for hanging out and joining me today. I hope that you all had a good time. If anyone got to go to Essen, that's awesome. I'm so happy for you. And they're going to come back and they're going to have so many games that I want to play. And there'll just be more games that I want to play. And it's exciting. All right. Thanks for joining me today. I'm Wendy Yi. This is the Dice Tower. And keep having fun playing all those games.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching this video. If you like this review or whatever you just watched, wasn't it amazing? Check out our channel, Dice Tower. We have all kinds of things. We review games, we do top 10s, we play games live. It's all about board games, but especially the people who play them. Check out Dice Tower YouTube channel.